right?
Okay, great. That should be working. What, the mic?
Yeah.
I don't care about that. That's fine.
Okay.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to another episode of watching Fear the Walking Dead here on the Playback. I'm Hector.
I'm Marina.
And we are still watching the show.
Yeah.
Let me fix. There we go.
We're still doing it.
We're still doing it.
Here.
I'll be honest. We recorded an episode of this and the audio didn't record, and now we're doing it again. Marina, thanks for doing this again.
Yeah, no problem, Hector.
Okay.
So we're going to hit the same points efficiently this time.
Mm-hmm.
So really it's better for you guys.
Mm-hmm.
So the name of this episode is Grotesque.
Right.
And which I thought was very silly.
Mm-hmm.
It's all about Nick, who was one of our favorite characters.
Yeah, and we
time.
even jokingly, or maybe realistically said at the beginning, the first half of the season, we were like, this show should just kill every character except for one, and then we'll follow the character. Either Nick or the dad, Travis, with his son. I get, like, something like that, to shake it up.
And we realized that we were dead wrong, and that was a terrible idea, because we got what we wanted, and we have been punished for it.
Such a bummer of a show.
Such a bummer of a... If you have realistic expectations, then yes, it's a bummer of a show. If you just lower those expectations, like, really far, then you have a lot of fun watching how silly it is. Because Nick... seems in pretty high spirits for having just abandoned every person that he knows. We do have a favorite walker.
Yes.
Who was the chompy lady in the car. She did a great job.
She did a great job.
And she had a lot of, screen time. Like, usually it's like they kill the walker right away. But she didn't get killed, I don't think, until those guys came.
True. Thank you for starting with some positives. I'll do my positive, maybe my favorite part of the episode was just seeing that sort of wandering herd of zombies kill those two dogs. Because it was sad because those dogs ran up to them and attacked them as if they were people. And you're like, oh, dogs don't know that zombies aren't people.
Yeah.
So instead of running away...
New concept that we haven't seen before.
Yeah, kind of, which is great. And it was sad. And it
was sad.
Then after that, like that whole sequence of Nick surviving, the fact that he went down and tried to eat some of that dog because he was literally starving to death, like... I get it, but I feel like the show didn't quite hit it hard enough, even though they spent the entire episode basically starving him.
Weird, right?
But for some reason, I felt like they didn't hit it hard enough, and I think you mentioned it may have been just because Nick still looked okay.
Yeah.
They could have done more makeup.
He was smiling a lot.
Like pretty, like not tanned.
He was very
or even burnt.
Not sunburned.
Just a little bit of dry lips, but not like starving.
He would have his face would have been like absolutely swollen and like he just looked like too okay.
And it's difficult to root for him. Why? Because
he is. Oh, I know why. Well, one, he just left everybody by choice.
Right.
So he put himself in this stupid situation.
Yep.
Like, not even in regular life are you like, I think I'll go into the desert alone. Like, not ever. Especially in an apocalypse.
And if they're doing it for his story, like, then I don't understand what the story is trying to be.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? If they're trying to say, like, well, psychologically, he's in this kind of a place that would lead him to make this kind of a decision, then I guess I'm not there where the show wants me to be. So I don't get it.
It's, like, that's a valid choice to make, but it makes us not like this character. Like, if that's where he's psychologically at, then psychologically I don't like him anymore.
Yeah.
Because it's a dumb thing to do.
It's tough to root for him.
It's tough to root for him, and also, the reason I wasn't behind this, and you agreed with me, which is that they're compacting all the stuff we learned in seasons 1 through 6 of Walking Dead, of, like, don't have open fires at night. Like, don't lose your water. Like, don't attract other people. Like,
travel in numbers,
travel
not by yourself.
In numbers, never travel by yourself. And so he did all these dumb, stupid things in the course of 45 minutes. So you're just over and over again being like, idiot!
I know.
What are you doing?
When the woman that, like, in the house he was squatting in at night, that abandoned house or whatever, shows up with her daughter and was telling him, like, "Lárgate de aquí," like in Spanish, and he kind of was like, "No, let me get my food, okay," and then left. I was like, you got to try harder than that, dude. You got to try harder to communicate with her. She's a human. You're a human. Yeah. And again, even if this show is trying to be, right, The Walking Dead, apparently years have passed at this point. Years. But Rick still had those 30 days where he was in the coma. Right. Before everything went to shit. If Fear the Walking Dead is supposed to be somewhere in that month or, like, still early in the months, I'm going to have an even harder time buying that every group you come across is like, they'll murder you for no reason, they'll kill you for no reason. Even if they're coyotes, even if they're, like, smugglers in Mexico, I'm still like, but there's still people that, if the zombies would happen, they would be like, okay, we have to band together, form communities, get food, water, survival, all that stuff.
They're not just going to drive around the wilderness.
Yeah.
One, like, they would be gone.
Right.
Like, there's a reason that everybody's gone. And they wouldn't waste those bullets.
Yes,
on
and
a
just
random, especially when they just turned around and drove away, drove in the opposite direction.
So it was so stupid. Like 6 seasons into Walking Dead, 7 seasons in, and you meet a character like Negan. Mm-hmm. Of course, you're suspicious to go, this guy. Right. What did he do to survive these years?
Yeah.
But again, characters in Fear the Walking Dead, like every character they come across is, I'm frustrated because I want the show to be more about survival right now than like we're the Walking Dead, we're the monsters, than the people. Right. And I think that would be interesting. Everything that the show promises, which is exploring the world, but on the West Coast and going down into Mexico, which is those things that before The Walking Dead was a show, maybe before it was a comic, people would always talk about, what would you do if there were zombies? What's your plan? Yeah. And part of the things is like, I'll go down into Mexico, it's safer. Like that's
I'll get on a boat.
I'll get on a exactly. Get in a boat, go to an island.
Go to an island, yeah.
Like, and then they kind of tease that, and they haven't been delivering it, and you can tell it's for budget reasons, and you can tell it's for whatever, but
which is, we feel bad, but also not that bad, because you're the ones with your own TV show, so.
Yeah, exactly. It's, and then talking about some of the like realism, I guess, in the show, I can watch Tom Hanks by himself for 2 hours. Yes. I can watch Will Smith by himself for 2 hours. And I think that's because of how those characters were crafted and the acting.
And the directing,
And the directing. So you get to this, like, Castaway style, I Am Legend, all Nick episode.
It's a lot to ask of an actor.
It's a lot.
It's a lot to ask of one actor. And not that he was fine.
He did a good job.
But it's tough. It's so much to ask for us.
I was bored.
Watch him for 45 minutes.
And some of the shots where the camera's static and he's just walking away in that like highway, I'm like, this is great. Anytime he'd come over a hill and the camera would be kind of on his shoulder, like a close up, sort of like a shoulder cam GoPro type thing feel. I felt like this looks crappy.
The stakes
it looks like
are lower.
A home movie. It's not as epic, I guess.
Yeah.
And then also just him. What's the thing that's like impossible to do? Is
you can't. Okay, so they showed him walking 100 miles. Like it says from where he is, it's 100 miles to TJ, right? Mm-hmm. So then he does a bunch of stuff. Then they show the same sign and it says 40 miles, if I'm correct, if I remember, to TJ again, which means that he has walked 60 miles in the desert alone with no water. Now, from personal experience, I have hiked in similar terrain 19 miles in a day.
Yeah.
So, he could
going
have
from
been...
like sunup to sundown.
Going from sunup to sundown. And we were walking slow, we took breaks, whatever.
Yeah.
I had water, I had food, I was with other people. So, it's not impossible that he could have walked 60 miles in 3 days, right? So, you won't... And that's as much as you can go without water. Mm-hmm. Like, the human body shuts down without water for 3 days. And then it rained, which was, like, very convenient.
Yeah, that's right.
So it's not outside of possibility that he could have walked 60 miles in 3 days with no water. But I had water.
And you almost died.
And I was very tired. And I had food. Yeah. And I was with other people. And I had like lots of provisions. So it's not like impossible, but he would have been so much more fucked up. Like visibly,
do more makeup. Do more.
He would have been like he looked like he just strolled into that like.
But Marina, he drank his own pee.
Yeah, like one time, which is like fine.
Drink your pee more is what we're saying. He should be drinking. He's just constantly drinking his pee.
Yeah.
Didn't he throw up right after? He did, didn't he?
He threw up the cactus.
Oh, that's right. But the pee was fine.
Pee is fine, and that's what you're supposed to do. So good for him.
Really?
Yeah, that is what you're supposed to do.
That's crazy.
And then the coyotes come.
Yeah.
And they get eaten by the group of walkers, which I will say, Nick hiding in the group of walkers, very cool, very badass concept we haven't seen before. We haven't explored the idea of someone just traveling with walkers.
Right.
But the thing that Hector brought up, which is the problem with it, is that in Walking Dead, when they try to walk with the walkers in, season 6, I think, 5?
Yeah.
And they're hiding, and I think that kid Sam, is it Sam, who, like, makes a noise, and, sorry, spoilers, whatever, too bad. Yeah, and he gets eaten because he, like, sneezes or something. It's very scary because the walkers are very scary. When Nick is walking with the walkers, there's no tension. Because the walkers aren't scary, which is what you said.
So
there's no stakes.
If they wanted to get that idea across, like, it should be terrifying every second
that he's in that group.
But the fact that it's not sort of played up that way, because I still think it's maybe kind of a dumb idea, only because of the way that the show's putting it across. Because when he does it, when Rick and crew do it in season 1.
Yeah.
In the episode Guts, and they put the stuff on them. It's like to kind of sneak by them first.
Yeah, it's to get away from them.
It's to get away. It's not to like live amongst them.
Yeah.
Which I think is just pushing your luck.
Yeah.
You know, like
again, like if he ever coughs or sneezes, like he's
or brushes up against one, and one just kind of looks for a little bit longer and goes,
like. Just like anything,
really
or if he just trips, just like
really
anything.
Pushing it. I know.
There's so many things that could. I do want to see an episode where he just sneezes.
Yeah.
And all the other zombies are like.
He just has to go shit and just like run. He's just like so tired, but goes oh shit and just has to start running, just booking it.
Yeah.
And if there's like people watching a group of walkers, all of a sudden a guy runs out. They're like, wait a minute, he's alive.
I laugh really hard.
I know. Those coyotes were so dumb for they're trying to tell us he got distracted by looking at Nick, but then it's like, you saw all those zombies. Keep walking back.
Yeah, walk back.
As you're checking something. Like, it's so dumb that they get overwhelmed.
They only had people die like that, and I could be wrong, in The Walking Dead by being like, oh, and then just getting eaten like that. I feel like in season 1.
Yeah.
But they filmed it and it was directed in such a way that it was still believable and scary, and there was less of an escape route than like literally any other direction. They could have walked sideways or back or a diagonal. Just like any open space in the desert. And they're like, I can't!
I know. That's why those enclosed spaces are scary. That's why there's hallways and stuff and indoors. Like a guy comes out of the door and you're like, oh, and then you die. But in a big open field, come on.
Yeah. So then at the end, but I did like that sequence where he was hiding. Very badass for Nick. Good job. So then he comes to basically Mexican Alexandria.
I know, which is like, we've seen this already, is the thing. What's going to happen? Somebody's going to be already ruling it like a king.
Yeah.
They'll be evil.
Yeah.
Nick will try to kill them or take over.
Yeah.
Shit will go bad. Everybody's going to die. I'm doing this right now under the camera. And then he'll leave and then meet up with another group. And that's what's going to keep happening. And
the slow pan open was like supposed to be this big reveal, but I was like, no, we've literally had this shot in Walking Dead. Like, but I was like, okay, they're like making
all right,
tortillas, and there's like a little panaderia and all this stuff, and I was like, okay, cool. Like,
let's hang out here for a couple episodes until it goes bad.
Little kid playing soccer.
Yeah, and he's playing soccer with Nick, so Nick was like, this is civilization.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, and he, like, kicked the ball even though his foot was messed up, and I was like, no, just...
It's all right. Whatever. All in all, my biggest problem with this episode is that it was just boring. It was just boring, unfortunately. And I can hang in there with the most boring stuff. I really can. I watch the worst stuff and the most boring stuff, and it was boring, unfortunately. And, now I want to go back to other characters. I want to go see Travis and his son. I want to go see
Travis
Mom. I want to go see some other characters,
The problem is that of the 2 characters that we liked, I don't like one of them anymore. Like, you had 2 left, and it was Travis, and I liked the daughter, actually.
Okay.
She's, like, the only one who's like, no, why are we doing this dumb thing?
They just all make the stupidest decisions.
They make stupid decisions, so I like Travis still, and I liked Nick. But now I guess I only have the daughter, the sister, and Travis left because Nick is such a fucking dumbass.
We'll see. It's okay. Only a couple more episodes, and then The Walking Dead returns. So it's cool. So guys, we'll be back. We can make it. We'll be back next week with another episode review, and we're going to start having Marina and myself catch up with the comics, and Marina read the Walking Dead comics from the beginning. She's never read them.
No.
You guys are going to want to watch those episodes, those reviews. I assure you, they're going to be great. It's going to be really great.
Strong opinion.
It's going to be really great. So, so if you watch the video, tell us what you liked. Tell us what you didn't like.
Tell us what you liked. Yeah. Help us find things that you like.
And we'll see you guys next week. Thanks, Marina.
Thanks, Hector.
Bye.
Bye.